Yeah, I really, really like this book. It's called Anthem. Available on Comixology. Published by Dark Horse. Enter the age of X-Men. From the Munich Circus to Hollywood Boulevard, Nightcrawler is starring in his own solo series. Kurt Wagner is the biggest celebrity / superhero since Dwayne Johnson, juggling Kirk's responsibilities as one of the X-Men and a slate of summer blockbusters would be tough without the best support staff in the business. Stunt coordinator, Magnum, personal trainer, Kylum, and of course, his leading lady, Megan. But there's something rotten in Tinseltown. Written by Sienna Maguire with art by Juan Fragari. I didn't like this book. I really grooved on the art. Juan nailed it with a very tight, cool, house-style Marvel art. But the story never went anywhere. It's basically Nightcrawler, a really cool character in the Marvel Universe, X-Men, starring in motion pictures. And I guess this is part of a bigger story because of the X-Men were all mutants. Like the whole planet has become mutants. So everybody has a backstory. And I thought it was a cool little device that they give you. With each character, they give you a little backstory with. So like when you meet the first part of the story, I was like, I'm completely lost. Here is this story taking place. But the story taking place is actually a movie set. You've seen that. You've seen that before, and I don't have a problem with that. I thought it was pretty cool. But each one of these little, every time they introduce a character, they give you the character and the character's mutant power. Because everybody's a mutant now. That's cool. I'm not currently up on all of the X-Men going-ons, but X-Men world is a thing. But the story, the story is just basically Kurt, Megan, and all of the back people that were introduced in the intro. Just a day in the life with very, very little more going on than that. I don't want to say that the story isn't not entertaining or boring but I really wanted a little bit more action. There is a cute little bit where Nightcrawler invites a super fan to a premiere. It's like an amazing moment for this girl, and she just has like the best night of her life because she meets all these other X-Men, and that's pretty cute. But I guess that's the sort of thing that I always fall for. Not a whole lot of story development here, but again, great art. It left me feeling good, so I did give this book another 3 stars. I do like Nightcrawler. All right. Diving into my last book. Number 1. Love stories that can only be told in comic book. Can robots fall in love? Is romance just a fantasy? Can love breach the corridors of death? It's Love Romance 2019, issue 1. Now, there are a lot of artists credited to this book. So many that Comixology wrote various. But it's written by Dennis Hopeless, Gail Simone, and John Adams. It's Love Romances 2019. It's a vignette story, an anthology of 3 stories. Wait a second. 4 stories, 4 stories of love romances. I thought this was fantastic. The first story is called The Widow and the Clockwork Heart, written by Gail Simone. It was so heartbreaking and lovely to look at. The art is fantastic, and it's I don't want to give too much away, but this story was so good. It's a love story about a widower who, this is after all the wars are over, everything is peaceful and loving out on earth, and all we have is romance and time. And this kind of like godlike figure sort of works the cogs of love, gets 2 people to fall in love. I'll just leave it at that. It was fantastic. I thought the story was so good. I just loved it so much. That was the first story, and again, there are 4 of these stories. The second story was a ghost story with this one was a little easier to read, and I actually read it twice because it's actually a silent story. It's done all in wordless gesture with pops of a ghost visiting a man who has lost his wife. And I had to read it twice. It was a little confusing at first, but I get the gist of it. It was a very pretty story. I wasn't crazy about the art, but the sentiment was definitely there. Now the other story, French Quartered. This is a straight up Romeo and Juliet story. Maybe less Romeo and Juliet, but maybe a little more. It's a Western-ish story set in the French Quarter with a widowed. All these stories take place with a widowed or widower. A man that's lost his wife and his daughter. He is not crazy about any suitors that are interested in his daughter, and he has not shackled her literally, but has just put up this wall around her. I'll just leave it at that. Walls don't hold back everybody. And then my favorite, second, third, first, I don't know. I can't remember now. This was called Gone Like the Wind, and it is a robot story where you can live your entire life in love if you get the robot change. We can be in love forever if we're robots. And a young couple fall for this, and I thought this was just fantastic. It's a very funny story of 2 people who take the robot change, become robots rather than humans, to live forever and love forever. But there is a catch. Maybe more to the story than that. All right, thanks for being here this week, guys. I cannot wait till I'm doing this with a co-host, because it is tough just talking about comic books by yourself. But thanks for being here. I just want to say subscribe to us on whatever platform you get your podcast from. And we're also available. And check out our website at sn1cbp.com. Updated all the time. Peace out. Cub Scout. What are the other things that James says? I can never remember them all. But we'll see you next week. I'm going to have a guest host next week, so it won't be so painful. Thanks for being here. Bye.